Transfer order picking follows a similar process to the sales order picking process. You can use one of the following three methods. Automatic. You can use this option when a response to the picking list is not necessary. For example, when the items sold are always in stock, or when users do not have to specify different dimension values than what is on the transfer order line or what is reserved. The manual one-step process. You can use this process if you want to enter the dimensions and register the pick from the transfer order line, or you can choose to use the manual two-step process. You can use this process when you want to assign a picking task and then perform the physical pick. There are several settings that control how the picking process will function and whether it is a mandatory or one or two-step process. These settings include dimension groups, where you'll set up the product, storage, and tracking dimension requirements for picking. Then you'll configure item model groups, which control the registration requirements. Inventory and warehouse parameters are used to determine if you can reserve items automatically, override the FIFO date control, and select a picking route status of activated or completed, just as you do for the sales orders in accounts receivable. You can perform the picking of items for transfer orders from the transfer order header by creating a picking list and then updating the picking list registration from the transfer order line by using the Pick button. Or you can use the Release Transfer Order Picking form. Next, I'll show you how to do all of this inside of AX. So, I'll need to open up the transfer order form, which is found in Inventory Management, Periodic, and then Transfer Orders. Here you can see the values for your particular order, and I'll go ahead and select the order that we created earlier. Then, using the Posting button at the top of the form, I'll click on the Picking List option. This will open up the Posting Picking List form for transfer orders. In this screen, you'll need to select the options. It's important to note that you can configure default values by using the Default Values button on the right. I'll need to change the update quantity for this to use All. Then I'll click the Edit Lines button so that I can view the lines and update any quantities or location information. Here you can see that the quantities to be picked are 1 and 10. If I also want to print the picking list, I can mark the Print Picking List checkbox, and using the Default Values button, I can configure where I want the picking list to be printed. For this example, I'm not going to print the physical picking list. When I'm ready, I'll go ahead and click OK. Now you can see that the order is updated to be picked. Depending on the configuration of the setting in Inventory and Warehouse Management parameters, a picking list registration might be required. To perform the picking list registration, you'll click the Picking List Registration underneath the Posting button. This will open up a new screen. This works just like the picking list registration on sales orders. Here you can see the handling status is activated, and down on the Lines tab, you can see the details of each line. If the item you are using is batch or serial number controlled, you may need to perform a reservation or registration to select which specific batch and serial numbers are going to be picked. The lower portion of the form will show you the overview of what is going to be picked. So in this particular case, we're making a transfer order shipment for the requested quantities at these inventory quantities. You can also see down here if any quantities are not in this particular shipment. On the Lines tab, just like in sales order picking, you can use the Functions button to split, cancel, unpick, or cancel the picking line. In my case, I'm just going to update this by using the Updates button and then selecting Update All. In this case, the item number for the quantity of 10 cannot be picked because there are not enough available. So instead, I'll just pick the line with 1. To do this, I'll mark the checkbox next to the one line that I want to pick, and then I'll click Updates and say Update Selected. You can see that now the status of that one line is updated to picked. Next, I can begin the shipping process. In this case, I'll only be able to ship the one line that has been picked successfully. So when I click Posting and then Ship Transfer Order, I'll only be able to select the quantities that have been picked. So in the Update drop-down box where it currently says Ship Now, I'll want to select the option that calls for the picked quantity. When I click Edit Lines, you'll see the quantity is updated down on the lower portion of the form. If you were partially picking a line, you can optionally mark the Close checkbox to indicate that no further shipments will be made. Because I'm shipping the entire line for this particular item, I'll go ahead and click OK. The status of this line will now be updated. If you click through the various tabs, you'll be able to see the information that's been shipped. Here you can see the total quantity that's shipped and the total quantity that's remaining to be shipped. The next step in the process would be to receive this line. So I'll use the Posting button at the top of the form and click Receive. Again, I'll only be able to receive the one item that has been successfully shipped. So I'll select the shipment option in the Update field and click Edit Lines to verify the quantities. Here, you can see that the line is now selected and the quantity is correct. If required, I could scrap some of these quantity. In this example, I won't scrap any quantity. Instead, I'll go ahead and accept the posting by clicking OK. Now you can see the quantity has been updated to received.